Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for attending my session. I'm Xiuye Xie from Department of Kinesiology at the Missouri State University. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to present you my topic, Integrating WSCC Model into Physical Education, Teacher Education, Strategies and Practices. For my session, I'm going to introduce you 4 parts. And the first part is what WSCC model is. The second part is the importance of integrating WSCC model into HETE program. The third part of my presentation is the status of HETE programs in the state of Missouri. In the end, I'm going to share some pedagogical strategies and practices for you to integrate WSCC model into your own program. So the first part, introduction to the WSCC model. And the question we may ask ourselves is why WSCC model? So here is some background knowledge. In 2013, the ASCD, Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development, and the CDC, they proposed the Whole Child Initiative. Was the want to address the concerns in the schools. Number one is the overly emphasis on the test scores rather than the whole child development. And the second part is the school children's health status quo. We have seen more and more students become obese or overweight, and also we see some mental and social issues in the school settings. The research suggested that improved health can benefit the school children's health, and definitely as a result, their academic outcomes also improve. So because of this initiative, they proposed a model called Whole School, Whole Community, Whole Child WSCC model in 2013. I'm going to show you a short video clip to introduce this WSCC model. And this video was conducted by the CDC.
How do we help communities improve health and learning for youth ages 13 to 18? CDC's Division of Adolescent and School Health, or DASH, supports many components of the whole school, whole community, whole child model, also called WSCC. Health education. The health and safety of adolescents is improved when they acquire the knowledge, attitudes, and skills for making healthy decisions, adopting healthy behaviors, and promoting the health of others. Health services. Youth are generally healthy, but they can be healthier and more supported when preventive health services are available in their schools. Services can include STD and HIV testing, counseling, health education, and referrals to other teen-friendly health services. Counseling, psychological, and social services. Youth feel safer and more supported when they have access to services that reinforce their mental, psychological, social, and emotional health. Social and emotional climate. Schools that foster safe and supportive environments develop students who feel more connected to their schools, are stronger academically, and engage in fewer risky behaviors. Family engagement. It's important for parents to participate in their students' school life by supporting health services and education programs. Family engagement protects students and leads to better academic and health outcomes. Community involvement. Youth are more engaged and motivated when they work on projects that benefit their local communities. These projects can help youth develop academic skills and healthy behaviors. coordinating policy, process, and practice. Student health and academic performance improve when there are coordinated school policies, processes, and practices. Enhanced coordination between students, parents, schools, and communities helps move the WSC model into action. DAP supports the model by funding school-based HIV and STD prevention, developing research and program tools, monitoring health behaviors, policies, and practices, and creating partnerships and communication resources. The 6 highlighted components are one way DASH upholds its mission. The coordination ring is a key to everyone making the model actionable. These 4 components are also important. CDC and other national organizations assist schools in implementing them. The WSC model, when implemented across schools, families, and communities, can greatly improve health outcomes and academic performance for all youth. The complete WSC model and definitions for all components can be found on the WSC webpage.
Thank you for watching. I hope you get a better sense of what WSC model is after you watch this short video. So after WSC model was proposed, there are different levels of promotions of this model. And the first level that I want to introduce is school district and school level. In the past several years, there were a series of WSC model integration trainings conducted at the state, school district, and school levels. And also a series of conferences and webinars about WSC model were provided by different organizations such as SOPHE, SHAPE America. This national push of WSC model is focusing on more of the implementations of WSC model in a school setting. The whole purpose is to push this healthy whole child initiative. There's also another promotion at the higher education level. In 2018, Society for Public Health Education, SOPHE, School Health Branch, and the CDC, they initiated the collaborative efforts to strengthen capacity and training in school health education, particularly related to the WSC framework. So in August 2019 to June 2020, SOPHE and the CDC, they conducted an environmental review of teacher education programs. They tried to answer the questions such as whether WSC framework has been introduced in the teacher education programs, and also how is the WSC framework integrated in the programs. So this is very critical to the PETE and also HETE programs to consider to integrate WSC model into their own programs. There are several reasons why it is important. Number one, a need to align with what school districts and the schools require with our teacher education programs. If the school district and schools require the students or our teachers or future professionals to be able to integrate WSC, then teacher education should be aligned with that. Second part is our mission to prepare for the future physical and health professionals to be qualified at their positions. Yes, we are focusing on to providing students the knowledge and the skill sets and different quality practices for the students to be able to be a good teacher. But meanwhile, there are also a lot of outside of responsibilities besides what the teacher has to be doing in the gymnasium. And WSC model is one of them. Promotes health and also physical literacy, not only for our pre-service teachers, but also more important is the school children. But the point is the our pre-service teachers, they need to be the role model first. They should be the health and physical literate so they can be a good role model for their future students. So it's very critical. And when you think about why we need to integrate WSCC model, so some knowledge that we know, if we are going to integrate that, and what some background knowledge we need to know in terms of what we are facing as the teacher education programs. Number one, there's a significant decline to undergraduate majors in health education over 50 years in US. This is data from 2019. Second, a nationwide challenge of limited future teacher professionals with formal and comprehensive training in health education. We also know that health teachers are often physical education teachers as well in the school settings. The other thing that's specific to the state of Missouri, there is no health education standalone major program. And health education is often as a minor or endorsement and the PETE programs. So because there's no standalone health major and all health related are more under the PETE programs, if we're going to integrate the WSCC model, we need to consider our situations as well, right? So the next slide, I'm going to show you what's this status of the PETE programs in Missouri. If you look at this table, there are in total 18 universities or colleges in the state of Missouri. They provided a physical education, either as a major or as endorsement or as the concentration. And 7 out of 18 colleges or universities, they have health education as a minor, endorsement, or as a concentration. Missouri Baptist University is the only university that have the dual majors with both PE and health. All those information that in this table that were obtained through the university websites. So information may or may not reflect the latest status of the program. So we look at this status of the PETE programs, both for PE focus and also the health focus. We see the reality as well. If we're going to integrate the WSCC model, we need to consider what we are facing right now. The PETE program, regardless of the PETE program or the minor or endorsement, most of the time we have this established program of study already, where we have limited or no room in the program of study to integrate the WSCC model, such as adding the new courses or make a big change for the whole curriculum. We may also have some challenges in terms of resources availability for implementing the WSCC model. The resources availability can come from the personnel, people who has knowledge to integrate the WSCC model, and also other resources such as networking. A lot of times WSCC model integration also connected with some community resources for different components, whether the program has the resources for different components. So that is also one thing. But considering that's the need for the better preparations for the future professionals and think about the reality of what the program needs to consider or challenges and need to face. So I'm going to present to you some strategies that are more from the practical standpoint, considering all those challenges. I break them down into the short term and also long term. I think they are more practicable. It just comes to what status your program is. You can consider either you use some of the short term strategies And if the status is getting better, you probably can start to think about some long-term strategies. For the short-term strategies, I'm going to present 4 categories. And for the long-term, I'm going to present 2 categories. Regardless, it is short-term or it is a long-term, the key thing is the collaboration among the university, school, and the community. For the short term, I'm going to present to you the integrate the WSCC introductory activities and exploratory activities, some other professional development opportunities. You may also invite some guest speakers. So the first one, introductory activities to help your students understand the WSCC model. There are several websites that you can definitely have your students to explore. Those websites can come from the ACSD, CDC, and SOPHE. They have a lot of information about the different components of WSCC and also what the services or responsibility for that component. You can also use some videos. If you think that is more effective, there are 2 video options that you can use. Number 1 is from the CDC. This one is a little bit short, which we just played that video for you. The other one is SOPHE. SOPHE, this video is a bit longer. It is about 1 hour long. It depends on what you have and also your class setup. If you are going to have your students to do those activities during the class, I may suggest the CDC video. If you are going to have this, outside of class activity, you can have your students to watch this SOPHE one. The SOPHE one has more content, not only introduce the 10 components and their responsibilities, they also have some guest speakers in that video, talk about some examples of implementations of WSCC at different levels. If you are interested for your students and to watch those contents, SOPHE is definitely a good one to use. The other one is exploratory activities that you can integrate. I break them down into the 3 categories: group activity, field experiences, and case study. The first one, group activity. You can have your students to explore different WSCC components, and then they present to the whole class. I will share with you a worksheet that I use. If you are interested to use, and feel free to let me know. I can send you the worksheet that I developed. The other one is a virtual healthy school. This is also very beneficial, especially we are in the COVID-19 challenge right now. The student field experiences are a little bit limited. And the virtual healthy school can give you some ideas what different components of WSCC may look like in a school setting. Your students can explore the virtual healthy school to explore different components. The last one is explore the resources related to the WSCC components. Not only the basic understanding of each component, the responsibilities, etc. There are more links provided in the CDC and also other websites to help you identify or find the resources or the programs related to each component. In different states, the resources or the programs may be different. Also, they may have different names for that. So the students can explore those based on the states they are interested, or maybe the city or the schools they are more interested to create or build a program for. Field experiences is definitely also, if it's available. Right now, we probably not that easy, but later on, if the field experiences are available for your students, you can definitely set up some activities for your students to explore in the actual schools. They can conduct some observations, and also they can make some connections with the community, because a lot of times the WSCC components are not available in the school settings. So you probably have your students to explore outside
of the schools, which usually come to the community. Different components and how they can connect with the schools to help the children. That is something that is very cool for your students to learn how to make networking outside. The other thing that you can do is the case study. The SHAPE American, SOPHE, and also CDC websites, they have different examples to show how different levels of WSC implementations at the state, school district, and the school level. You can have your students to read different examples and study those as their exploratory activities. A lot of times students feel a little bit confused at the beginning. Since WSCC is not something small, it's more like a larger project, which they don't know where to start with. Having those case study step by step can give the students some better understanding. So this is an example of the worksheet that I talked about. If you look at this worksheet, they have two parts. The first part is to group the students so they can explore their interested WSCC component with their partner or partners. The part two is to do a deeper analysis of each component. It depends on your class size. You can choose different numbers of components for your students and to explore. You can also change the group size. I have 2 for each component because I have 10. I have about 20 students in my class. So 2 students will be in charge of 1 component. What they do is they will use the link I provided here, and they will read through that component on that provided in that link, and they use their own words and to summarize and describe what that component is and what some content or services provided in that component. And also they will do something in the virtual healthy school where the students can look at different places in that virtual school to connect that with the WSCC components they work on. They can see that how different services or content or places in the school setting that may be included in that WSCC component. The last part is to go a little bit deeper. They start to explore the resources for each component. They will look at the links a lot of times provided in the website. They usually have more like programs introduced. The students can make their own selections in terms of what resources they want to include if they are going to use the WSCC model in their future schools. What some programs they think are more effective, they are going to make their own decisions and judgments in terms of what resources they want to use for that. After they finish this exploratory activities that they are going to share with this whole group, so they can exchange with the other groups and they get a better sense of different components, what they are and what some resources and what something may look like in a school setting, even though it is from the virtual healthy school. So these are several layers of checking for understanding for this worksheet as well. The next slide just give you some like visual is what's a virtual healthy school in the CDC looks like. You will see that different colors and also represents different places in the school like cafeteria, different classrooms, employee wellness center, etc. So the students, when they click the different areas, they will see different content over there. The next case study, the example that I provided here is from the document of ASCD. They have a lot of examples over there. You can have your students to read the examples and then they can do some reflection journals. They can exchange thoughts. You can have the discussion session set up in your class. You can also create a discussion board where your students can post their responses or their thoughts on the discussion board, and also they can comment on each other's. The third category is professional development. There are different conferences and workshops are related to WSCC model. You can have your students to attend or to watch some of the videos. So you can look at some resources on SHAPE America websites. There are also some district conferences. SOPHE also give very frequent workshops. If later on the SOPHE and the CDC, their initiative come to the state of Missouri, I think there are more workshops will be available, and there will be more personnel can go to different schools and to provide the in-person trainings as well, if the school districts are willing to integrate WSCC model in their school district. The other is long-term goal, may or may not easy to achieve. It depends on the program situation. If the program flexibility allows, can develop a new course, which can really helpful and to systematically teach the WSCC model. If program flexibility is not available, you can use some of the existing course to redevelop some of the contents covered in that course. Something that you can select to do is to emphasize the essential components of the WSCC model. You can look at your own program and see that what are some components of the WSCC have been already included in some of the courses. If there are certain things that you feel the program hasn't really addressed, you probably want to develop some of those modules or some activities specifically to address those. So this is the two ways you can do, but adding a new course as we know, it's not that easy, especially when it comes to the curriculum change, and sometimes you have to create a proposal to rationalize why this new course is important. And also it takes a long time to get approved as well. The next one is the curriculum-wide integration, which can be treated as the most challenging way and to integrate the WSCC model because it requires more people, more resources, and more collaborations. So as we do any of our other curriculum mapping, we have different activities added and to address previously the CAPE standards. When it comes to the WSCC model, there may be more different activities you integrate. You can be the modules, specific modules you want to introduce. It can be the learning experiences, such as field experiences. Instead of only provide the field experiences in one course, you can spread them out across this whole program. You can have your students to explore different components at different stages of the program. So all of them can be done, but you have to form a team where all those people who are relevant to the major or the minor to collaborate with each other. It's a key to collaborate for a successful integration. Otherwise, it may not be very effective. So that is why we put this as the long-term goal to achieve. Not only within the program itself, outside, there are also bigger collaboration if we look at that. It's not only the university with the school, but also university needs some collaboration with the community. We talk about the guest speakers in different cities or different states. There are different resources available in the community that university can definitely reach out and to contact, invite them as a guest speakers, talk about the status of the state, or sometimes provide their expertise. We may not be the expert for every single component for the WSC, but we can invite the people who have the expertise and to introduce to our students so they can be familiar with those components. So the collaboration is absolutely the key to integrate the WSCC model. So that is all the thing that I want to share with you. I hope that you get a better understanding of WSCC model, and also you find some strategies that I present today maybe useful for you. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions, or if you need any of those materials that I use. Feel free to send me email using my university email address. Again, thank you very much for attending my session. Bye-bye.